India has been gaining economically because India can provide cheap labor. China too has gained. India in services, China in manufacturing. But fundamentally, that's just in some way an exploitation of the fact that we are just too many and too poor. So people produce kids, and then what do those kids end up as? They end up as laborers, helps, maids, cooks, cleaners, plumbers. I'm not berating any of these professions, but for sure I also know that being a maid or a cook or a helper is not obviously the fullest expression of one's potential. So in that sense, I am calling it unfortunate. These days we are calling it here in India as the demographic advantage or demographic dividend. We are thinking that this is what will catapult India to the foremost league of prosperous nations. We have so many young people who can work, so India will either export their work to the rest of the world or export the workers themselves to the world. Nice, but I would have rather had a situation where these many people in surplus didn't exist in the first place, because most Indians from the lower classes and the lower middle economic classes, they live pretty wretched lives. They do provide a lot of comforts and conveniences to the moneyed people, but their own lives are quite miserable. Even $1 a day is not available to a lot of people. Just imagine $1 a day. So
yeah, and I guess I actually sometimes you get the feel for it, just maybe from the general kind of a vibe you get from people. Sometimes there can be this kind of a it's hard to find the right word for it. But for example, when I see the shop clerks and the guards and, well, the maid is very nice though, she's very polite, but it's clear that they are not enjoying themselves.
Of course.
It's a very like...
Of course. The average Indian lives a very confined, very joyless life. And you would not want to trade positions with him. No way. And believe me, a lot of that is just due to the population we have. And somehow leaders, both political and spiritual, have not been able, rather not been willing to drill this down to the Indian mind that kids are not an important part of the happiness package. That having kids is not a random event. That kids are not sent down by God. They are not divine gifts. So that concept that having kids and having more kids is a very central thing in life, especially that of a woman, is very deeply ingrained in the Indian psyche. And that needs to be corrected, not just to control the population, but to develop the Indian mind itself. As long as Indians keep taking reproduction so seriously, they will not have time or space or energy to give respect to the more important things in life. And I'm talking especially of women. You can't imagine how much an average Indian woman spends of her whole life in just giving birth to and raising kids. Now the fertility rate has dropped to less insane levels. But just a few decades back, the average Indian woman was just continuously pregnant, one kid after the other. 4 kids, 5 kids, and 1 or 2 of them would die early, and then more kids, and then you want a baby boy in particular, so more kids. So yeah.
And it's the funny counterpart in the West. I mean, probably many Western women also want kids, but then they have fewer ones, but they get more resources than the
Now
whole.
the fertility rate, I think TFR is what, 2.1 or something in India. I may not be accurate in that case. I want to stand corrected. But it's now greatly fallen. But still, with the population that we already have, it needs to 2.1, 2.20. Okay. It needs to fall even further. 2.2 is still alarming.